Hi guys, and welcome back. So really excited for today's episode because it's finally time to rebuild this nano gallery, but most of all to start scaping this shallow tank, and I'm really looking forward to it. So earlier that same week I did a little bit of prep work to get ready for the scape. So here I'm just putting some old aqua soil into these mesh bags, so then it's going to give a little bit of height to the hardscape. After that, what I did is I gave my hardscape a good clean. So these are river rocks that I have been keeping in my garden for quite a while. So I gave them a good brush down, and when I was finished cleaning the rocks, what I did is I set them in a solution of water and hydrogen peroxide. So just in case there was any nasties, well, there won't be after this. The idea for this scape is to go for something I do think very minimalistic and very striking, because it's smack bang in the middle of this nano gallery where I do want to create a few heavily planted tanks. I want this one to be a little bit more minimalistic. Because I'm using really big and extremely heavy rocks today, what I'm going to be doing is I have these mesh bags here, and it's just going to help me prop up the stones. So it's going to give a lot of stability, and it's also going to reduce the contact points of the stones straight onto the glass, because that's something you really don't want to do. You don't want to damage or crack your tank or risk having any kind of torsion. So you can use these mesh bags, but you can also use plastic egg crates. Some people use polystyrene. You just have to make sure it's safe for your aquarium. So I'm going to try and not overthink this part, because that's what I have a tendency of doing. I do have an idea of the placement I want to go for, so I'm just going to go for it and see how it goes. And try not to break anything. Also, I need to adjust this. What's really nice when you use mesh bags is you can fold them over and you can create as much height as you want. So these are small bags, you can buy so many different sizes, but I do find that these ones are pretty good. I'm not trying to create an Iwagumi layout, nor am I trying to accomplish a riverscape. I feel like this is kind of a hybrid in between the two. So I'm not respecting certain aquascaping rules here. One of the rules would be that sometimes the stones need to be facing in the same direction to create a sense of flow. And what I've done here is I've put one in one direction and the other one in the other. So they're kind of crossing, which is a contradiction, but I do think that it's going to enhance the focal point I want to create for this scape. So see how it goes. So just like in the mesh bags, I'm using some old aqua soil from a broken down tank that is still pretty rich in nutrients. So I'm going to be using this one, and if I don't have enough, I will just crack out a new bag of aqua soil. So I'm not doing a very good job of being clean or precise, but that's okay. What I'm trying to do is build up a little bit of height around these rocks before I start placing the rest of them around these two main rocks. I'm placing a small rock at the very back of the tank, so then it's going to give some depth. You want to have some bigger rocks at the front and some smaller ones at the back, so then you really gives that illusion that the tank is actually deeper than it actually is. And then by placing these two rocks at the front of the tank, it's going to narrow down the view. So what that does, it just forces the eye into this focal point, which is the back section of the tank. To avoid the aqua soil rolling forwards and mixing with my sand, I'm using a piece of foam mat just to separate the two. It's also going to give me some nice and crisp lines. You could use anything, like even a piece of cardboard would work great. The sand that I'm using is actually a mix of 2 to 3 different sands that are left over from some of my projects. So it's not one specific sand. And I find that's what makes it look pretty natural when you don't have it like just one bold color and you have some coarser pieces. It's going to give detail, it's going to give some color and also some texture. So I actually wanted to take you guys along with me to show you what exactly inspired me to build this scape. So as much as I think, like a lot of us, I look at a lot of pictures of nature to inspire myself when I'm building something, this one I really based myself off what I kind of saw outside on my daily walks. So I really wanted to take you guys to the stream where I saw the rock placements and all this, but the fact is it's been raining a lot, and when I got there it was completely covered. You cannot see the rocks of the river, so I don't know, maybe in a different video I will go back and show you guys exactly, but I thought it would be cool to share. So that's Hardscape completed. I have to say that this tank is very far from my usual aquascaping style, but I have to say that, yeah, I'm actually really satisfied with how the tank is looking so far, and I kind of think it's going to be my new favorite. Filter-wise, I'm going to be using a Bio Compact 50, so do bear in mind that this tank is a 38-litre tank when it's filled to the brim and when it's empty. So you can imagine once you've placed Hardscape, you've put in a ton of aqua soil, sand, it's nowhere near the capacity of 38 litres. This filter, being designed for aquariums up to 50 litres, is going to be largely sufficient for the scape. What's nice as well is because it's not too big, I do think I'm going to be able to hide it behind the Hardscape. So it's almost filled all the way to the top, and it's sitting around 22 litres of water volume, so nowhere near the 38 litres. Okay, so we are now the next day because my phone decided to run out of storage while I was filming yesterday. So yesterday all I did was finish filling the tank. I've added some bacteria and I've adjusted the light stand. I've slightly lowered it. So the next step is just to let this tank dark cycle for a couple of weeks before I plant it. So then it's really just going to prevent a big diatom breakout, especially when you have a lot of rock, a lot of sand in your tank. Sometimes the diatoms can hit pretty hard. So just to minimize that effect, I'm gonna go for a dark cycle. And that is the end of this week's video. So as always, guys, thank you so much for watching. Please tell me your thoughts on the scape in the comments, and I will see you guys next week for a new video.